How we doing, Raven fans, Oriole fans, and thank you very much for joining us on this very special, for several reasons tonight, the Ravens Bravery Sports Podcast instant reaction after the Baltimore Ravens victory tonight in against the Pittsburgh Steelers, 35. What was the final score tonight? I think it was 35-10 over 35-14 over Pittsburgh tonight. Not close, not even a game tonight. We got a couple of guys with us here. We got our man Hurricane, who is
What's
you would
up?
think he'd be mad because he's a Steeler fan. How are we doing? Our fearless leader at Drive to the Top
Um,
Productions, and an extra special guest, Matt Trigger, the Baltimore radio media legend we were talking about. Definitely, absolutely check him out. His podcast with Daniel Wilcox, former Raven, on Believe Network, one of the largest sports podcast networks around. How you guys doing tonight?
I'm doing good. Whenever we talked Wednesday, Rav, what did we say the final was going to be? 28, 35, 14, right in that range. We were dead on. Even though I picked Isaiah Likely as the player of the game, I know. Look at me, look at me, and I said Isaiah Likely because we both thought. Oh, my son's first comment of the day. That's awesome. Fire Tomlin. anyway,
We're gonna get
anyway,
to Mike Tom. We're absolutely gonna get to Mike Tomlin, Fire Tomlin. Yes, here.
anyway, me and Rap both said about 35, 28, 14. I think you said 17 or 10, whatever. But it was right in that range. But yeah, I didn't think we stood a chance. Matt,
Yeah.
how about you?
Um, when we did our preview show on Thursday night, we or Wednesday night, it was Wednesday night, and I said 31-10. Daniel said 28-7. So we were kind of in that range. I was surprised at the fact that they kind of let their foot off the gas in the third quarter a little bit because those couple drives where we kind of stalled out. I was thinking that this was going to be one of those behind the shed ass whooping kind of nights for you guys where we put up 42, 45 points on you guys.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, it was. I kind of saw the writing on the wall when Hayward and Watt were both sitting on the sideline for a period of time. They didn't want any part of what we were bringing to them.
I saw the writing on the wall when you guys kicked their ass in the home game in Baltimore the last time.
There's a score, 28 to 14 over
28-14.
the Squealers tonight. I think this kind of went the way we thought, right, guys? I mean, as far as the game went, Ravens offense too much. I think the Steelers pedestrian. I've been kind of me and Hurricane been talking about how the Steelers offense is pedestrian. And the one guy who's not pedestrian, I think George Pickens was the one guy they had that really got any offense going for him at all. The Steelers got a lot of problems. I mean, that's for sure. I don't know. I don't even know how much we even learned tonight, Matt and Hurricane, about the Ravens going forward next week, right? I mean, this wasn't even a game where it was super, where the Steelers were close to doing anything here. I mean, they really, they other than the two long passes by Pickens, not a lot of offense. Offense sputtered. Even like Herbie and Al Michaels were kind of turning on him, looking for Justin Fields, right? At some point in this one. So I don't know how much we learned about the Ravens. I think it said more about Pittsburgh, even though the Ravens are going to be the ones advancing. Hurricane?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Go ahead, Matt.
No. You go ahead. Go ahead, Adam.
We talked about this on Wednesday that the only way the Ravens lose this game is if they beat themselves. I honestly did not think the Steelers stood a damn chance in hell at beating you guys at all. So what you guys did do is kept the foot on the gas enough, let some records get broken. Obviously, Derrick Henry's now moved up to eighth now in playoff rushing history.
I think sixth. He's
Sixth
now. Yeah.
So if the one thing they discovered was Lamar Jackson learned how to read, and it looked like he was running a lot better, even though his back is going to be the big question all week for you guys. Because that back was definitely a little messed up tonight in the game. How bad that's going to affect him moving forward, I'm not sure. I mean, you guys might have a better answer at that than me, but this team definitely learned that they can run the ball, and hopefully Harbaugh really looks at that and goes, "That's what we should have done last year." And you guys both attested to that.
I mean, here's the thing though. The Ravens haven't lost a game this year when Derrick Henry has 20 carries or more, and they also haven't lost a game where Lamar's thrown under 20 passes. So they go hand in hand with each other. We knew what we could do. We ran all over Pittsburgh the first game, or the second game of the year. The first game was we beat ourselves situation, but this is the type of game that the Ravens needed, because you need to go in and beat teams that you're better than, and this is a win or go home situation. Every game now is win or go home, and Lamar needed that because he had the stigma that he could not beat Pittsburgh. He did it in late December, and he did it in January when it matters. So now he's got that off his back, and now he's heading to his next foe, which I don't believe is going to be Buffalo, but I'll get to that in a little bit.
And you got to remember, Matt, this is the second game in a row where Derrick Henry managed to get over 100 yards rushing against the Steelers defense that he could never do it, even that one game he had with the Ravens in Pittsburgh. So these are two big, huge steps for Derrick Henry.
Okay, so let me kind of give some precedence to what you're saying. Derrick Henry
Steelers, I said,
right. But for the season, Derrick Henry had the largest yards per carry before contact in the NFL at nearly 4 yards per rush before he was touched. So if you're going to average that out to 20 carries a game, and he was at 3.9 yards before contact, he's running for 70 yards a game before he's even touched, which that's a good omen for any running back, let alone a historically dominant running back who has found the fountain of youth, and he's playing in front of arguably the best offensive line he's ever had in front of him, which is crazy because me and Ravori know that this isn't really the best offensive line the Ravens have ever put on the field. If you would have put Derrick Henry
right side is still suspect as far as I'm concerned.
The right side is I'll say this: Rosengarten earned big time points with me tonight because he handled TJ Watt, and TJ Watt did nothing against the rookie. For the second game in a row, Rosengarten locked him down. I think he might have made a half sack late in the game or whatever, but
Lamar Jackson made Watt look stupid a bunch of times.
But
on the RPOs.
But
I mean, that was heavily talked about on the radio side.
You're damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you're TJ Watt and you don't crash, Derrick Henry's running up the gut.
Right.
If you do crash, Lamar's taking the ball on the outside, and he's running essentially a stretch run on RPOs. So it doesn't matter. They were going to kill it both ways. And the Ravens had 222 rushing yards after contact tonight. So to me, we imposed our will on a team that we had to impose our will on.
They also set a record, right, for first half rushing, 164.
Yeah, and Derrick Henry had 103 of those yards alone on 13 carries in the first half. So yeah, and then Ravori, I don't know if you noticed this, but in the fourth quarter, Monken completely changed the pace of the game. He started running a lot more deliberate handoffs in the I formation, deep set back. There was no up-tempo RPO type stuff. They really limited Lamar's running into the fourth quarter. I mean, I think Lamar ran a couple times to get the first down on that last drive to kind of chew the clock a little bit. But that's the one drive where his back got really hit awkwardly. I don't know. At this point in the year, Lamar can sit all week long and he'll play on Saturday or Sunday. That's just where we are.
Rosengarten can run block. He's been good at that in college. He's been good at that all season. He was horrible earlier in the season and when they had him pass. If you're going to have a whole game like tonight where they're just going to run all time, like for most of the night, Rosengarten looks fantastic. Lamar is running inside. They're still having a problem with the quick pass rush of the Steelers. So they've adjusted. They just kind of, okay, we're not even going to deal with these guys. We're just going to run it up the middle on the left side, more particularly, and just do well like that. I wanted to go their Ravens stayed committed to their run game plan tonight. Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson utilized runs inside effectively against the edge rushers, against the Steelers, TJ Watt and Highsmith. Now, it banged up Lamar, I think, in the process, but definitely they're rushing inside because they're having trouble with the pass rush on the edges, but it's effective. That's what you should be doing anyway. You got Derrick Henry. What's the difference? I mean, you got
neither one of those guys hurt. Neither one of those guys hurt Lamar, though. It was number 41, the rookie. He's the one that put his knee in the lower back, and it was by accident. I don't think it was a cheap shot or anything, but like you were just.
Well, he took another shot on his back too, Matt. At the end of the middle of that fourth quarter when he got the first down. Actually, he was a yard short. He took another shot on his back, and that one looked like it hurt him more. I don't know who hit him at that point. I wasn't sure.
I think it might have been Deshaun Elliott, which that doesn't surprise me either.
Were they exchanging jerseys at the end of the game?
15 carries Lamar had tonight, 81, and most of these were inside runs in between the tackles. They weren't just him in space, he was actually taking running back type runs tonight. That's what I was saying earlier. He was freezing Watt, and that's why he was able to get inside.
Well, they're drive extenders at the end of the day. That's what they are. All of Lamar's runs, and Rory and I watch every Ravens game, obviously, to do a show for the team, and to cover the team. But Lamar's runs are they've really just opened things up for Derek because Lamar's speed is different than Derek's. And when Lamar's running he's running stretch plays, he's running in between the 3 and the 5 gap, and he's running between the 2 and the 4 gap. And then once they're expecting Lamar to carry the ball, they're expecting to have a quick, small target where when he puts that ball in Henry's gut and has him run, now you got 6'3", 260 pounds of angry that can go 22 miles an hour coming at you downhill, full head of steam. You got a 315-pound fullback in front of him most plays, and you got a 385-pound guard that can pull and run like he's 250 with Daniel Fa'alele. So that's intimidating stuff. And I'm gonna say this now because I haven't had a chance to be on air with you at all this year, Adam. And I hope you guys are happy with Patrick Queen because he was the cause of 2 of the Ravens touchdowns tonight. He was supposed to cover Hill on that touchdown pass, and Lamar sucked him in on that pump fake. And Derrick Henry's 44-yard touchdown, Queen caught a stiff arm right to the face mask and gave up. So
Henry got Fitzpatrick too on a pretty good.
Yeah, he made Fitzpatrick a meme for the rest of the year. He's a meme for the rest of the year.
All them Notre Dame boys were fired up tonight too.
Isaiah
Hamilton, Isaiah Likely. They were fired up, man. They were
Coastal Carolina guy, but yeah, we took the wheel from you guys, and I'm not trying to sit here and rub it in, but you guys are making business decisions out there in the second half. You guys want to know part of that run game, and the fact that Lamar had a 70% completion percentage is absolutely insane when he threw the ball 18 times, I believe.
All right, you're talking about the pass game. We're going to talk about Zay Flowers here. Ravens really didn't need it tonight. No Zay Flowers tonight. Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely, Rashard Bateman, all had more than enough firepower in the passing game. I don't know if you guys have noticed, and I had this, where Bateman is quietly having a good season here, right? Not like a Zay Flowers or all pro or anything like that, but he's played all 16 games. He's been healthy. He's come through when they need it. I mean, he hasn't been. I wouldn't say he's as good as Isaiah Likely, Mark Andrews, or Zay Flowers, but fourth best option, not bad. I mean, I thought he was pretty good tonight. I thought the Ravens pass game was obviously it was run heavy, but it was obviously they did enough. Lamar 70% tonight as well. He had 2 touchdowns to no interceptions, 175 total. I was very happy with the Ravens pass game, considering I think this is a quantum leap for, and I know Matt knows this. Like, so often we talked about the AFC Championship game last year, where it was, let's see what the defense does. Let's figure it out. Let's have that. They are dictating tempo. You mentioned it, Matt, dictating pace, dictating what they want to do, imposing their will on other teams. That was clearly what was the case tonight.
Yeah. Rashad Bateman is having probably one of the best seasons for a wide receiver too out of every offense in the NFL, outside of maybe somebody like T. Higgins or Jordan Addison. But Rashad Bateman's stats this year: 45 catches, 756 yards, 9 touchdowns. He averaged 17 yards a catch, and he averaged again for the second straight year the highest amount of yardage separation per route, and he gets open on 75% of his routes that he runs. So 3 out of every 4 he's open, and he gets open by almost 4 yards per route every time he runs them. So like his touchdown catch tonight, that defender wasn't anywhere close to him. He made a sliding catch on. He had all day.
Yeah, Lamar had all day on that.
Lamar had all day on it, but Bateman had at least 4 yards, 5 yards on the guy, and he made a nice sliding catch in the corner, back corner of the end zone. But I mean, Bateman could have, ran another 10 feet, and he'd have had another 2 yards on him. It's crazy how good Rashad Bateman has been this year, and in an offense where Lamar Jackson throws for 4,100 yards and Derrick Henry runs for 1,900. And the Ravens only average about 60 plays a game is what they averaged this year against the Steelers. And they had 40 in the first half this game. For Rashad Bateman, that 2 for 24 might not look like a lot on the stat sheet, but he caught the first touchdown of the game. He set the tempo, and he caught a big third down pass to move the chains and keep the drive going later on in the game. So his 2 catches were meaningful. They were impactful, and he's having a great season. And what the Ravens did this offseason, where they bought out his option year and gave him a 2-year extension for pennies on the dollar, they look like geniuses right now. Eric DeCosta looks like an absolute madman. Rashad Bateman's not even making $10 million the next 2 years. That's insane to me. And he's going to have even more production next year. You don't think Lamar Jackson trusts him now? He trusts him a lot more. And it shows when his number 1 Pro Bowl wide receiver was out.
How?
Go ahead.
Nelson Aguilar. They said he had 16 catches all season.
He was
that.
I mean,
that just shocked me. I was like, 16 catches. This guy he's up around like Bateman's number, 45 to.
You got to understand, he's a wide receiver 3 in this offense, but he's like the 7th option to get the ball. You got Lamar that's going to get his carries. You got Derrick Henry that's going to get his touches. Justice Hill is going to get his touches and his catches. You got 2 all-pro caliber tight ends on this football team, and you got Zay Flowers. You're going to throw the ball to one of those guys before you're going to throw to Nelson Aguilar. He's good for a first down here or there, but he also missed the last 3 games with a concussion.
He had a big first down tonight.
He had a big first down tonight, but that's what he is now. He's a guy that can get us a first down if he needs to. He's not going to be the focal point in this offense ever again. Last year he made some big plays, but now you got a healthy Rashad, you got a semi-healthy Zay, you got Justice Hill, you got Derrick Henry, you got Isaiah Likely, you got Mark Andrews. That's not needed.
There's not a lot of room.
Bateman has always been a good separator too. I want to be clear about that. He's always had separation. What's helping him also stay healthy is the fact that he's got other guys around him. He's not getting double teamed like when he had, um, uh, uh, you know, a bunch of no-name guys with him, as a receiver. Now he's got room to run. He's got because he can separate as well. So he looked good tonight, as well. Three, looking ahead to Ravens in the divisional rounds, whoever they're going to play is going to target Brandon Stevens in the passing game. Pretty much all they pretty much got tonight was Russell Wilson as their primary source going to George Pickens in this one. Um, they're throwing at him a lot. I think a lot of it is the season that Marlon Humphrey's having. Not only just the fact that Marlon's got good coverage, he's taking the ball away. They're throwing at Pickens a lot. They're throwing at Stevens a lot. Wiggins gave up a touchdown tonight as well. That's my only concern going against, as we suspect. We think it's going to be Buffalo. I mean, it might be Denver. Well, it won't be Denver. It'll be either Houston or Buffalo. I heard you.
Yeah.
Either one of those guys, CJ Stroud or Josh Allen, whoever it is, they're going to be throwing at Stevens. That's probably my concern. His coverage skills are actually very good. He stays on guys. He's got no clue how to locate a football.
Yeah,
None.
He can't turn his head.
He just got. I mean, he'll be all over a guy and still get receivers to catch.
I'll say this about Stevens: the worst thing that they ever did was take him off that free safety position. When he played with his body towards the ball, he was a very good free safety. When they moved him to cornerback, he started struggling. Now, last year he had a fantastic year, and that might have been the anomaly to who he really is. But Stevens is the weak link on the defense in the pass game. You're not throwing at Marlon. You're not throwing at Wiggins. Wiggins made a mistake tonight, but Wiggins has been locked down all year. He didn't give up a touchdown the entire season. He had his first pick six last week. So out of all the people you're going to throw out in the secondary, you're going to throw at Stevens. That's his process of elimination. But I don't think Allen is going to be able to target him the way we think. Because honestly, I don't believe that Allen's offensive line is going to be able to hold up against our pass rush. They did in the first game. We were getting to Allen all night. And we're a better football team now than we were when we beat them 35-10.
I was going to say Inns don't rush a lot.
I'm not going to disagree with that, but that's where they're going. Is all I'm saying. Go ahead, Ed. Go ahead.
I don't believe they're going. I don't believe that, but I believe we're getting a home game against Houston next week.
I believe. I couldn't believe you guys have 58 sacks and don't really blitz.
You don't need to when Kyle Van Noy is having a career year.
I was just blown away, Matt. I really was.
He had 12.5. Odafe had 10.
Yeah.
That right there is damn near half the sacks. It's 22.5 out of the 58. You know?
Well, that was including after tonight, right? We got, I think it's had 4 sacks tonight.
Yeah.
So that put it at 58.
I think Odafe had 2 of them. He was everywhere tonight. That dude's playing fantastic football right now.
Like, it just looked bad from our angle. I mean, but I expected it. I mean,
it looked bad to me. I love that shit.
I know you guys love this shit. I'd be loving it too if I was in your seats.
Well,
but I mean, I kind of picked that. You know, I said it was going to be 35-28, 14-17. So I expected to lose, but I mean, the Steelers have been on a horrible roller coaster, giving up over 30 points in their last 5 games now. No, they actually didn't. They stayed out of that.
Yeah.
But, like, here's the other thing I didn't know either. 2 of our 3 playoff wins have been on 6 field goals by Boswell. We won 18-12 and 18-14. It's awful. Those are awful numbers. I don't care.
Now your kicker's in Cancun.
No, he'll be in Orlando in what, 3 weeks?
Oh yeah, for that goofy ass Pro Bowl.
Stupid, right? Flag football, baby.
You mentioned Kyle. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Finish, Adam.
Go ahead, buddy.
No, you mentioned Kyle Van Noy. Defense continues to impress. Consistent run stopping performances. I'm all the way with you on Kyle Van Noy. I know Kyle Van Noy. John Harbaugh loves Kyle Van Noy compared to Jadeveon Clowney. Everything that Jadeveon Clowney isn't. Key plays, making key plays in both the run defense and the pass rush. Saw it early in the game, right? Early in the game, Van Noy outside, holding the edge. Trying to throw the ball downfield. He cuts inside to run. Van Noy, because he's holding the edge, he doesn't have anywhere to go. Van Noy runs him down from the backside in the first quarter. That's like he is so fundamentally sound with everything he does. I know a coach is like Clowney was the athlete, right? He's the Captain America, the super guy. Yeah, there you go, brother. Way to go, Kyle. It was. This is a guy I know John Harbaugh gotta love. Gotta love Kyle Van Noy.
Absolutely. I mean, he does everything he's expected to do. He's a locker room leader. It goes without saying that he's had a career resurgence here in Baltimore. We got him under contract for another year next year. So, hopefully this continues, but he's what you need on this defense. It's the perfect balance of young guys and veterans on this football team on the defense. Rowe's a veteran. Van Noy's a veteran. You got Matt Abike in the middle. He's a young guy. Travis Jones is a young guy. Hamilton's a young guy. Then you got Marlon, who's the veteran in the secondary. It's the perfect mix of young and old. And Van Noy's leading the way with that. 13, almost 13 sacks this year. I think he's had more in the last 2 years than he's has in his entire career in the other stops that he's had. I mean, he's a Super Bowl champion already, so he's a winner. And he's bringing that culture here, and it's prevalent. You can see it in him. He loves the city. He loves the team. He loves who he plays for, and I believe he's going to be imperative for a Super Bowl win moving forward.
Play like a Raven. Perfect. I mean, just
all day long.
Absolutely. Play like it. He's had Adiza Isaac. I thought when they drafted him, he's exactly what I thought Isaac would be like this season. Exactly right. Good in the running pass.
I don't trust
rush.
I don't trust a Penn State outside linebacker as far as I can throw him. Good Lord. Odafe Owe took 5 years to get 10 sacks.
Well, you're gonna get one early in the draft, Abdul Carter. Go ahead, Hurricane.
Yeah, that's not gonna be us though.
No, it's not. No, it's definitely not gonna be us.
No, you guys want to pick 32, right?
Yeah, I would prefer to pick 32 and then sit up. So. I'd rather pick 32 and then wait all night for us to pick, and then Eric DeCosta trades back to 39, and I had to go to bed at midnight and wake up at 4 a.m. Because I've done that before, so I'm not expecting DeCosta to do anything less. Oh, correct.
One last thing here, and as far as on my notes here, and this is a Steelers thing. Could this have been the last time we've seen Mike Tomlin coaching a game against the Ravens? Pittsburgh's got some significant work to do before they get against the Ravens. Look, as an African American, especially, I have all the respect in the world for Mike Tomlin. I think even though he's a Steelers guy, Mike Tomlin has done. I don't think Steelers fans realize how great this is, how hard this is. Bill Belichick, John Harbaugh, Bill Parcells have losing seasons. What he's been able to do in Pittsburgh, I don't know how much longer he's going to. I mean, even the great Shula Landry, it just feels like that the end in Pittsburgh. Hurricane disagree. He says no. He says they're going to keep him and they're going to keep moving. I don't know how many times you're going to go out in the first round like this. And one last thing, I know if it's him, the Bears, the Jets, they gotta be. I mean, you gotta be. If I'm him, I gotta look at that. If I'm him, go ahead. Either one of you guys.
Well, if we don't make the playoffs,
You're saying no. You keep saying no every time I say it.
If we make the playoffs next year, we can try and break our 9-year slump from our last playoff win. I just mentioned we won 2 of the 3 playoff games from the time we lost to Green Bay in the Super Bowl. We have 3 playoff wins in the last 13 years now. It's not a good record. I don't care about the empty trophy case that sits there because you went above 500 a season. That don't mean shit. Now I have to watch these. Now I have to watch you guys play. I have to watch Bills play. I have to watch all these other teams play because Tomlin's team just quit on him after they won 10 games because the city made it feel like it won the fucking Super Bowl for 18 straight winning seasons of winning nothing.
You gotta understand something though.
We're not winning anything. We're not winning anything.
Tomlin's a good coach though. But here's the thing, Adam, and I agree with Ravori, and I'm not agreeing with him because he's the host and he was gracious enough to invite me here. If Tomlin gets fired, everybody outside of New England, they would hire him tomorrow.
Go for it.
Every vacancy that is going on right now, he would be the Raiders coach by 5:00 tomorrow night. He would be the Jets coach by 5:00 tomorrow night. You're saying goodbye, but okay, let me just give it to you from a different perspective, Adam. And Ravori and I,
it's run stale.
Okay. But here, let me explain something though. And Ravori alluded to it himself. He is consistently good, and he is tenured. Look at the Cleveland Browns organization, for instance. They have a new coach almost every couple seasons. They're in constant rebuild. They're in the Jets, constant rebuild. The Jacksonville Jaguars, constant rebuild. Would you rather, as a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, have that or know that Tomlin's going to give you his best every single time? Now, right now, his MO is that his teams collapse late in the year, and that's unfortunate. But right now, you got to understand something. We're both of our organizations have been dealing with the same head coaches through 2 different dynasties. We dealt with this shit through the Brady and Belichick dynasty, and we dealt with this now through what could possibly be a Patrick Mahomes dynasty. So, if anything, Tomlin is stability. He is a very good football coach. He got out coached tonight, and his team got outplayed, and that is definite fact. But you got to understand the position that his ownership put him in. When you have 2 quarterbacks, you have none. The fact that he won 4 games with Justin Fields and didn't stick with Justin Fields the rest of the season tells you all you need to know about that, because Tomlin didn't make that call. I think that was a Rooney call. They paid the price to get Fields, and they were going to play Fields no matter what, because you guys were paying Russ the vet minimum after waivers. Denver paid him all this year, so that wasn't your ownership giving him $30 million. It was the Denver.
More than that. It was 38, Matt.
Right, but what I'm saying is, you guys had minimal investment in Russ. The fact that he missed the first 6 weeks of the season, and you guys won 4 of those games, and then you only won 6 more games after the fact. It's ridiculous. Like, that's not I don't put that on Tomlin, because Justin Fields had your offense rolling. He was a dual threat quarterback that could make things happen, and then you went to Russ, who's got a noodle arm.
I say that every Tuesday, Matt, on open mic. I say it on me and Rich's show. I thought Russ was starting to die. Like we watched Flacco die last year when he was in Cleveland.
Flacco should have retired about 2 years ago.
And the arm was dying. He was only thrown to the tight end, only thrown to the running back. He wasn't able to throw it deep.
Shit here.
I know, but like it really showed up in that 6th game that he started in the playoff game against Houston. Every ball deep was underthrown. It just didn't look good. It looked like the age caught up to him.
Yeah, I mean, he's got 15 kids, so he needs to play. But
is he like Phillip Rivers?
Yeah, they can't pull out of a parking spot. It's crazy. But
those 2 guys aren't me and you. They got enough money. They can have 20 more if they want.
Right.
Russell Wilson and Philip Rivers. I got to say this. It's conflicting with Tomlin. I got all the respect in the world for him. I can tell you this: Steeler fans are not with him anymore. That's a thing. And I know the people keep thinking the Rooneys aren't going to do anything and all that. Steeler fans aren't really with him anymore. It may be running stale after a while. Certainly, he could go anywhere else and coach and do a good job for anybody. The one thing I would say, as great as he's been, he's never developed a quarterback.
I'm going to ask you this too.
Right? When he got there, he had Ben Roethlisberger. That was the – go ahead.
He developed Ben Roethlisberger, though.
Not really. Cowher had him for 4 years.
That was Bill Cowher. Bill Cowher had him, and then he
played 15 years for you guys, 17 years for you guys. So –
but Ben was already established by the time Tomlin got here. He's already on his third year, fourth year.
I mean, you can't
say
that, but okay.
So we're going to talk about coaches, right? How many coaches that Tomlin hired have gone on to be head coaches?
The same amount as Harbaugh.
So are they good coaches, or
I honestly don't know?
Yeah, there's no Tomlin and Harbaugh don't have a coaching tree in the NFL right now that are head coaches. You got to understand something. Tomlin doesn't hire innovative young guys. He's an old school football coach, the same way our guy is. Harbaugh doesn't have any of these youngsters that are in here, designing next generation, schematic offenses that are lighting the league up. He brings in old heads that just know how to coach, that are no threat to his job. The only one that was a threat to his job just got a head coaching job in Seattle. We got one. Harbaugh's got one head coach on his tree, and that's Mike McDonald.
I know I'm not going to say Arthur Smith, because Arthur Smith does apparently have job interview lined up this week. I don't know where. I just read it somewhere.
He's a terrible coach with the Falcons. I don't know what they're thinking.
I don't know either. And I don't know why Pete Carroll would leave Seattle to go to freaking Chicago.
Here's one thing I'll say about this whole coaching thing. Ravoria, I don't know your stance on this, and I've talked about this with Adam. I don't believe that any head coaches should be hired or interviewed until after the season is over. Because the fact that you got Ben Johnson being linked to 4 different teams, and you got, Greg Monken and all that shit, it's insane, bro. It's insane.
I agree. It should be a time frame after the Super Bowl.
I don't think teams want to wait that long. They got to get to work right now. The Steelers are going to get.
I understand that, but
I understand that, but it's not fair. Allow candidates that want to leave, though. That's kind of
it's not fair to the teams that are in it.
Yeah, and those are the coaches a lot of times you want. Anyway, like you would want Ben Johnson. They might be in the Super Bowl here in a few weeks, or something like Aaron Glenn. You want to talk to him. Those guys a few weeks. So I don't think, but I think you should allow guys after the season. Like, I don't know why you couldn't talk to Ben Johnson right now or Aaron Glenn right now. Why they have a bye, or Spags,
because it becomes a distraction.
They should be allowed to be hired before the thing.
The season is still going on for them, though. The season is still going. They shouldn't be inundated with interview requests when your team is in the playoffs.
It'd be like the Bears right now saying, "Hey, we're going to interview John Harbaugh."
Like the fact that
how excited would you guys be on that? After a win like this, the Bears come in and say, "Hey, we're gonna interview your guys."
I wouldn't. It wouldn't surprise me. I mean, a couple teams want to interview Monken, but to me, it's like, why would you do that? Because I think there should be a window after the Super Bowl to where you have a week to like that week after the Super Bowl. Now you can start interviewing for head coaches leading into the draft. But there's no reason that they're doing it right now. Unless they are unemployed by the NFL, there shouldn't be anything like that going on. That's just my opinion.
Like Vrabel,
I agree.
Doesn't have a job or something like that.
Yeah, Vrabel can go interview with everybody.
Vrabel was linked today to being in New England. I don't know if anyone saw that.
Vrabel's going to be their head coach.
I think so.
Robert Kraft did Jared Mayo so dirty. I don't that shit with Boston, just the whole Boston aura and the atmosphere. Like they love their African American athletes to win them championships, but they don't want them running shit. They ran Doc Rivers out of there. They ran Jared Mayo out of there after a year. Look at the team they gave Jared Mayo. Drake May, okay, he's decent. No offensive line. I couldn't even tell you which one of the Amazon drivers they had at wide receiver this year.
Kendrick Bourne, right? Was that one of them? Kendrick Bourne?
Who is that guy?
I mean, no idea.
You can. There was multiple veteran free agent wide receivers they could have added to give that man a chance. Odell Beckham and Mike Thomas didn't play this year. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on. And then that putrid ass defense, and coming off the heels of Belichick, sucking the last 3 years he was there. You gave Mayo won you Super Bowls as a player. Mayo was a part of some of the best defenses in Patriots history, and you give the man one full season. He didn't even get a chance to fully implement his program. And the Raiders did the same thing to Antonio Pierce. How do you give these coaches 1 year? One whole year in a shit show of an organization? If you were going to do all this, you should have just hired Vrabel after he got fired from the Titans last year. Because now I feel like
that's what he wanted to do, and that's what he wanted to do anyway. And that's why he had it in a contract where he had to hire Mayo, and he kept his word. But he should have, if that's not what he wanted to do, he should have just, okay, we're going to pay you and just go ahead and hire Vrabel if that's what you wanted.
Because Vrabel is now going to be the guy replacing Mayo and not the guy replacing Belichick. Mayo is forever going to go down in the history of sports saying he is going to be the guy that replaced Bill Belichick. And he got 1 year to do
it. And you're absolutely right about the culture thing. I was shocked to see it on the Patriots stream when I did see it after the Mayo thing. All you kept seeing was DEI hire and all that foolishness. That was just complete. That's just unnecessary. I mean, that's just they have no idea if he's a good coach. Like you said, you have no idea after one season. He had the worst roster in the league. I thought either that or Carolina. I mean, so
Carolina won more games.
I don't understand.
They had a quarterback that was worth a shit.
I'm just saying. Yeah. I'm just saying, like their roster was terrible. Like even if they had Belichick, he'd have lost too. Whoever it was would have lost with what was there.
It's a farce. Robert Kraft is an absolute garbage owner. I will die on this hill. I hated Tom Brady for 20 years of my life. But Tom Brady is the reason they won every single one of their Super Bowls. Because once Bill Belichick didn't have number 12 under center, he was a dog shit coach. So Belichick's legacy begins and ends with Tom Brady, and that is it.
I like Brady as a buck.
I like Brady as a buck too, but what I'm saying is Belichick is lauded as the greatest head coach of all time or up there, top 5 or whatever. But he didn't win shit without Tom Brady. He didn't win anything before, and he hasn't won anything after it. And now where's Bill Belichick? In Chapel Hill. He's coaching in the ACC next year. Let's
I'm surprised he didn't take the Raiders job to be with Brady again.
Brady doesn't want him there.
Brady does not want Belichick there.
Brady doesn't want him there. I think people assume that Brady doesn't want to work with. Brady and him are not friends. They
are
speak
not
good publicly, but I've never heard him say that Brady and Belichick were friends or were close. I've never heard him say that.
Belichick would turn the Raiders into what he had the Patriots run as. And I'll tell you this right now. Somewhere, somehow, and Rivori used this terminology earlier, and I don't know if it was pre-show or during the show. By hook or by crook, prime time's going to be in Vegas. Let's just call it how we see it, baby. Deion Sanders is going to be the Raiders head coach next year.
Primed.
If he can have a guarantee that they will draft Shador, he's going to the Raiders. that you could very well see the first time in NFL history that the Raiders go into the draft without a head coach. And if they land Shador, the very next night they're going to announce Deion Sanders is the new head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm not putting nothing past that shit show of an organization. Because we're 2 months from the draft.
And he'll have, I don't know, is Brady going to stay in the air or is he going to go be a Raiders owner?
He's got a $350 million contract to talk on TV. What do you think?
I'm just saying. I didn't know. I don't know.
Yeah. Greg Olson's doing XFL commentary now. They kicked his ass to the number 2 show. It's crazy. And he's a good commentator.
XFL.
I don't think Brady. I don't think Deion going there. I think it would have to be with Shador. I don't think he leaves Colorado otherwise. I think if he can have Shador, if he can have Shiloh, I think he consider it. I think Dallas he would consider, regardless of
because the thing is, Jerry's too meddlesome. Deion knows better. Jerry hires yes men. He doesn't hire backboned head coaches. Jason Garrett was
the same.
Jason Garrett was a sorry sack of shit. He bended to every whim of Jones, and Mike McCarthy's no better. Deion has a spine. He would never last in Dallas. He'd be there 1 year before he gets sick of that shit and go back to college. But Deion's a mercenary, bro. He doesn't have any allegiance to anybody. He doesn't have any loyalty to anybody. Look how many NFL teams he played for. He played for like 8 teams. That dude doesn't give a shit about where he goes. If the money's right and Shiloh and Shador are there, he's going. He's a Raider. I mean, I'm looking at it pragmatically.
I do think those 90s Cowboys teams, I think you're underestimating the relationship they have with Jerry Jones more than anybody else. Emmitt Smith, Troy Aikman, those guys, and I think Deion was a part of that, not as much, but I do think that is a factor. And there is Deion Sanders. This is, the gold change, the prime. I think part of him would like to be in Dallas and take a job like that. I don't think he would necessarily go to New England or something like that, but I think Dallas or New York or Las Vegas I think that is appealing to a man like that.
Look how Jerry did Jimmy Johnson. Look how Jerry did Jimmy Johnson.
Horrible.
Who was their coach? Who was their coach? He was that 90s primetime era Aikman, Emmitt Smith era coach. He did Jimmy Johnson.
And he brought in Barry Switzer.
Dirty. And brought in trash.
Yeah, Barry Switzer was terrible. Barry Switzer was terrible. Barry just didn't even care at that point.
Norv Turner.
Kind of booted him.
I mean, come on. Jason Garrett. I'm so glad his wife hated Baltimore and he wasn't our head coach because, oh my goodness, we'd have never won a Super Bowl with that dude.
And everybody, I'm glad you brought that up. The only reason John Harbaugh got the job was because Jason Garrett turned it down.
Because his wife didn't want to live in Baltimore. His wife didn't want to live here. She wanted to live in Dallas instead of Baltimore, so Harbaugh got the job. That's the only reason we got Harbaugh.
Well, he said that, but I mean, he wanted that job in Dallas. I mean, he knew he was going to get the job in Dallas. He told the Ravens that. I mean, that could have been right, but
But his wife didn't want to live here. I mean, I've talked to people that are in the organization that were here during that time. I've spoken. That's been the same story from quite a few different people. So it goes without saying, but I'm happy that motherfucker. That dude never stepped on the sideline as a Ravens coach, other than as an away coach. But
you're allowed to unleash here, Matthew.
Yeah, I quell the cussing. I've conditioned myself to
that. That's crazy.
Right,
I didn't think Jason Garrett would go anywhere else but Dallas.
Real quick,
go ahead, Ray.
Also, I did want to go over the first game a little bit, talk a little about the Texans over the Chargers, 32-12. Look, Herbert, you can't throw the ball away 4 times and win a playoff game. That's not gonna work. That
Greg
surprised
Roman's
me.
playoff offense.
that surprised me, the margin of victory, that this was much. But you had a pick six, you had four. They were ahead. There was nothing there. Um, you mentioned Greg Roman. When is Herbert going to get some criticism, man? I mean, this is
He's
that.
not.
I mean, he seems to kind of get away talent wise. He's as good as anybody in the league, but that
No,
wasn't.
he's not.
Look, I'm talking about the physicality. I'm not talking about the neck up and all that other stuff, because I know where you're going to go. But I'm talking about the physicality. Throws a great deep ball, great athleticism, etc. But they were pretty much. He pretty much gave Texans the game. Texans. I think Stroud was good today. Better than he's been. I, I
The key
I
factor
don't
was
see any
Nico
way they
Collins
beat
coming
Kansas
back.
City. I don't think any way they beat Kansas City, or if it is Baltimore, like you're saying, Matt, I don't see it. I do think that the Chargers did take a step up regardless. I think they did about as good as I thought they would do. First round out. They have a really good coach, Jim Harbaugh, considering the circumstances. At least he knows what it is. He's got Roman there for a reason. He's going to fire him once he actually gets receivers, just like just like John Harbaugh did. But what do you guys on the first game at all today?
They tried to make LA Chargers the Baltimore Ravens West End. It didn't work. I don't care. You know what? They're not a good. They're not as good as their build, and it's all because of Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh is this genius coach that wins everywhere he goes, and he forgot to build the defense. He built the offense up, forgot to build that defense, and then when the offense is starting to click a little bit, your star quarterback, who's making more money than every other quarterback left in the NFL postseason, is now turning the ball over 4 times and scored 12 points.
They said his elbow. They said his elbow was bothering him a lot. Apparently, then he took a shot.
Then you don't.
I don't know
play.
why. Like, then he shouldn't play. Right, you're absolutely right.
You don't
They
play.
said he took 2 shots on the elbow. I know he overthrew a bunch of balls. I mean, at one point
He's
his QBR was
mediocre
20.
quarterback.
At one point today, his QBR was what, 26%?
I'll ask either one of you. What has Justin Herbert done as a pro quarterback?
Nothing.
Please tell
I'm
me.
not disagreeing. You're not going to get me. I think also too. I noticed with him compared to Lamar Jackson, who gets a lot of criticism, he moves his offense very slow. The tempo, when they try and do tempo, he struggles with it. He's got to be under center. He's got to have things like that. Physically, he's there. This is why they're so vanilla. And I think Jim Harbaugh knows it too. That's why he runs the ball all the time. Whatever he brought that in.
Here's one thing I'll say about the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson when it comes to these other quarterbacks. Outside of Patrick Mahomes, any other quarterback that is in the NFL right now has this team, they win 8 games this year, maybe 7. And I'm even talking about Joe Burrow, who is overrated because we've never seen Joe Burrow without an elite wide receiver team. Allen, Hurts. I'm gonna say it. Lamar Jackson's the best quarterback on the planet right now, outside of Patrick Mahomes. And I actually believe that he's better than Pat, but Pat won 16 games this year, 15 games. So until Lamar beats Pat when it matters, I'm going to hold that reservation. But Lamar Jackson gets unfair criticism, and he's about to win his 3rd MVP, his 2nd in a row. And there's a good chance that he's a Super Bowl MVP this year when we win. It's
Matt,
our
do
year.
Do you think if the Bengals would have made it, Joe Burrow would have had a better chance at MVP because of the numbers? He threw the ball 620 times and only had 9 interceptions.
Here's the thing. If you look at stats, Burrow, if MVP was a stats game, Burrow wins it.
Yeah,
Burrow wins it
yards.
in a landslide. Everybody's talking about Josh Allen winning MVP over Lamar Jackson. If you look at another quarterback in the same state that wears number 8 for the New York Jets, their stats are almost identical. Almost identical, except one team is a shit show and the other one's a playoff team. Allen's stats are not impressive. I don't care what you say. I don't care what you do. He is not He should not win this MVP. I hope there's Bills fans watching this so I can let them know that their quarterback is the overrated sack of shit. So
we're on Jamie's channel, so we'll find out.
I don't care. I'll argue with that. I was arguing with everybody in the group chat when they started talking about Meat Ride and Josh Allen. That was crazy shit. That's when I popped in and started popping off, because you're not going to sit there and talk about Josh Allen being the second coming of Jesus Christ. He's a right-handed Tim Tebow with a smidge more accuracy. That's what he is.
I ain't going that far.
I'm going that far.
I think he's improved a lot this year. I mean, in terms of the interceptions and everything going down, and I think he's had less to work with. I was really concerned about him without
Ravori.
I think that's fair. Go ahead.
Come on, Ravori. Lamar Jackson's first MVP season 5 years ago. His first MVP season, he had Willie Snead, Seth Roberts, a hurt rookie Hollywood Brown, and a second-year Mark Andrews, and a second-year Hayden Hurst, with Mark Ingram as his running back. I don't want to hear about having nothing to work with. He did more with less than anybody else in the history of the NFL. Josh Allen did not start producing until they added Cole Beasley, Emmanuel Sanders, and Stephon Diggs. 3 legitimate wide receivers. And then after that, what happened? What happened after he lost all of them? What happened after he lost all of them? Oh, he doesn't have weapons. He's a pedestrian, middle-of-the-road quarterback who is a touchdown merchant on short yardage because he's of the size of a defensive end that can throw the football. That's all he is, and that's all he's going to be. He has won nothing in this league. He's won nothing. Nothing individually, nothing in the playoffs. He does not have a Super Bowl title to his name for people to give him all these accolades. I will stand on that shit. I don't care. I will take it to my grave. Josh Allen is no better than somebody like Trevor Lawrence or somebody like Aaron Rodgers. Hell, Rodgers has got a Super Bowl, so not even that. He's no better than Justin Herbert.
He's way better than Trevor Lawrence.
They are all middle of the road quarterbacks that are.
I think Trevor Lawrence is awful.
Okay, and that's your opinion. I believe that he's not that good either. But Josh Allen, everybody's saying that he's got all these stats. He's a touchdown merchant. How many of those goal line? If that's the Ravens, those touchdowns are going to Derrick Henry, not to Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson doesn't have half the rushing touchdowns that Josh Allen has because Allen is a merchant. He's a push merchant like Hurts. So his touchdown numbers are inflated.
Wouldn't you be a push guy at 6'5" or whatever he is, 6'3", 6'5"?
That's fine. But the thing is, he's benefiting from that. On all those situations on the push, Lamar Jackson's handed a 22. They got a good running back. James Cook should have had like 30 touchdowns this year. But he had half of that because Josh Allen decided to run the ball on the 1 yard line. He calls his own number, which, okay, that's how you win football games. That's fine. But let's not sit here and act like they're the same because they are not. They are far from the same.
I middle of the road is farther I'm going to go, but there's not a lot of good quarterbacks elite in the league right now. I mean, if you're certainly not going to call Herbert elite, Jalen Hurts, is he a top 10 guy? CJ Stroud, you would put. I mean, so there's not a lot here. So that's why I would put Allen higher. I mean, for some of those
3
elite
quarterbacks. There's 3 elite quarterbacks, Ravori, and I don't mean to cut you off. I apologize. I'm passionate about this topic. 3 elite quarterbacks is Patty, Lamar, Burrow. That's it. Everybody else is really good to very bad. I'll put Josh Allen in that better category as opposed to very bad. But Allen, let me ask you a question. If you switch our quarterbacks, this is a hypothetical. And I've said this on air with Adam before. I'm asking you, Ravori. If you put Josh Allen on the 2019 Ravens, they win 5 football games. 6 football games. If you put Lamar Jackson on the 2021 and 2020 Buffalo Bills with 3 good wide receivers and a very good defense, Lamar Jackson probably gets him a Super Bowl because he's a better quarterback.
I don't think you're not going to get me to argue that he's a better quarterback. I think Lamar's had a lot less to work with except for this year throughout his whole career. I think Josh Allen kind of escapes criticism. I mean, he threw a lot of interceptions. I mean, a lot of
turnover
interceptions
machine
before this year.
He
You
turned
can
the ball
look-
over a lot last year too.
Yeah,
If you look at
I think he struggled bad really before Diggs got there, but he was better this year. They ran the ball. I can't say middle of the road. That would put him 15, 16. There aren't 15, 16, 14 better than Josh
They
Allen.
did beat the
I think
Chiefs.
that's a little.
They did beat the
Okay.
Chiefs.
That's a little strong.
and we beat them.
Yeah, so I don't know how that all
Yeah.
equals out.
It's stupid to talk about head-to-head wins as a quarterback. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, Allen gets smoked by the Ravens and Lamar Jackson, but beats the Chiefs. We lost to the Chiefs by a toe. A literal toe. A literal
Yes, you
toe.
did. Yes, you did. Isaiah Likely.
Right.
I saw you say that before, Matt. That quarterback wins and losses aren't a stat. Then why isn't Joe Burrow MVP?
He should be.
It matters to wins and losses at that position, not any other position.
If you want to
but that position.
quantify,
You got to say
quantifying the position, Joe Burrow is more valuable to the Cincinnati Bengals than any other quarterback is to their team, and that's including ours. Because if you saw what the Bengals did last year with the backup quarterback, they were terrible. They were a terrible football team. Terrible. Absolutely horrible. So, yeah, I would give Burrow the MVP. I would have no problem giving Burrow
That's who
MVP.
I chose. I chose Burrow on that show.
If you're going to say that it's between Allen and Lamar Jackson, it's Lamar Jackson all day. And over those two, and even over Burrow, MVP should be Saquon Barkley. Hands down, he ran for 2,000 yards in his first year with a new team, and arguably should have played last week and beat that all-time rushing record. So, yeah, there's 3 or 4 guys I'd put in front of Josh Allen for MVP.
Gotcha.
At least 3.
All right, guys. Well, want to thank you guys for joining us tonight. It's nice to finally get Matt, the radio legend. Matt, tell us where all of us can see. I've heard the Believe podcast with you and Daniel Wilcox. Great tight end for the Ravens. Where else can we hear you? How can we check you out there?
All right. Thank you for the plug. I'm gonna shamelessly plug for a second. Like you said, I have a pod. I'm a co-host to Daniel Wilcox for the Believe in Ravens podcast over on the Believe Network. You can find all of our content at my Twitter at mtrig_bir. And you can find everything for us at Coach Wilcox for Daniel. We share all of our content there. For all Baltimore Orioles baseball coverage, myself, Tim Malarkey, and Zach Moore are on the Pigtown Sports YouTube page for our foul ball talk and other miscellaneous Orioles news. So you can find my work on there. We're on Spotify for the football show with Daniel. I'm on Spotify, Apple, iHeart. You can download us there, give us a listen. We always got some pretty cool guests, and we're always doing some pretty interesting things. Our post-game show will most likely be tomorrow night, so you guys can catch that there. Thank you for letting me promote that. I just want to say this, Ravori, for those of everybody that doesn't know, I was with Adams driving to the top, and I was his Ravens and Orioles guy for a while. You've done a great job filling my shoes, so to speak. Your content's great. I love the fact that you're a diehard Baltimore sports guy just like myself. You're doing the network proud. You made Adam speaks highly of you, and I've watched your shows. It's great to finally get on air and share some screen time with you.
Thank you very much, sir. Adam, tell us about you, brother. How can we check you out? The first leader.
Well, Tuesday we run the open mic. Everyone's invited. We do have Logan coming back this week, so we'll see. He texted me yesterday, said he wanted to come back and have a conversation with us on Tuesday. I know Jason will be there. He's okay, folks. Just to let you know, he's up north of the fires. So is Gina. Gina's okay too. I did talk to her. Just keeping everyone updated on that real quick. I do feel awful about all them fires in LA. It's a nightmare. But you can find me at Sports Talking It on Twitter. You can also get me at Driving to the Top on YouTube. Hit that like and subscribe button. Thanks everyone for tuning in tonight. And Rab, finish it off.
All right. Thank you, guys. This week, definitely check out the Ravery Sports podcast this Wednesday. We're going to go over the Ravens game with the Steelers. Whoever the opponent is in the divisional round, will be covering that. We're going to talk a little bit of Maryland basketball this week. Maryland, big win over UCLA. Awesome. Like that. It was fantastic. And we're going to go over the Orioles spring training battles as well. Who's going to be going where? Orioles made some acquisitions this week. We're going to be going over that as well. Definitely check us out at raverysports.company.site. Ravens, Orioles, hats, jerseys. Definitely check that out. Thank you, all of you, wherever stream you're on, watching the Ravery Sports podcast. You guys have a good rest of your evening.